listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Peace, family. Welcome to another edition of the Narrative Podcast. The Narrative Podcast is the home of original people peace, original people reciprocity, and original people positivity. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. Welcome all my narrators. I am your host, Halsey Allen. So how's everybody doing this weekend? My week was great. Got a lot of stuff done. Weather was immaculate to say the least. Fall is officially here. Cool weather, I love it. Sun shining, and then just like, throw a long sleeve shirt on and just go. I'm over the hot sweltering stuff. But welcome to the Narrative Podcast. So all my regular listeners, they already know what the podcast is about, what it entails. But for all the new people, how I generally start things off is I walk you through an overview or a brief synopsis of the Narrative Podcast before diving into the content. But as of late, I've started plugging my current projects before the synopsis. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dive on in and do my promo. Just plug everything I got going on right now. Then give you guys a brief overview of the Narrative Podcast before diving into the content. And the reason why I give you a brief overview of the Narrative Podcast is just so you can have, proper context. So just putting everything into perspective for you so you can fully digest the information and apply it. So the first thing I would like to promote is the podcast itself, the Narrative Podcast. And the way you can support the platform is downloading this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast. And to also follow me on YouTube and X, formerly Twitter. And the reason why you want to follow me on those two platforms is because the medium that I use to record my podcast automatically uploads to YouTube and Twitter upon finishing my broadcast. Like after I'm done recording, it automatically uploads to YouTube and Twitter. So if you follow me on YouTube and Twitter, you'll be up to date with the newest episodes of the Narrative Podcast. So on YouTube, you want to, of course, subscribe to my channel, which is my viewer channel. It's just Halsey Allen. And then you want to click the subscribe button, notification bell, notification all. And then next you want to share all the episodes of the Narrative Podcast on any platform that you like to share content on. And then of course on YouTube you want to click the like button. So on YouTube the like button is a thumbs up button. And then also leave a comment on all the episodes of the Narrative Podcast on YouTube. And that's how you support me on YouTube. And to find my episodes, go to my videos. It's my viewer channel, and that's the only content that I have uploaded on YouTube. So if you go to my profile on YouTube, click my videos, you will see the most recent episode of the Narrative Podcast, and they're all in chronological order. And my all my episodes are publicly shared, so you should be able to listen to them with no problems, no problemo. So yeah, go check me out on YouTube, Halsey Allen. And then next, when you're following me on Twitter, follow me, Halsey Allen. I stay good at Halsey Allen. Now, you have more options on Twitter, and so go to my profile. I stay good at Halsey Allen. When you see the Narrative Podcast link on my profile, click that, and it'll take you right to the episode. And then once you've arrived at the official Narrative Podcast link on my Twitter, it should open up, and you should see it should say the Narrative Podcast. You should see my banner. It'll have a microphone, Narrative Podcast, and then underneath the episode,
it's 7:58 p.m. It's 7:50.
well, I don't know what I clicked on, but anyway, so underneath the Narrative Podcast logo, you should see the little like button. It's heart shape. So click on that, and then next to the like button, you should see a comment box. Write a comment in the comment box. Then next to the comment box, you should see like a little clock dilly. Don't worry about that. It's an icon. I'm not sure why the clock thing is there, but ignore that. Go over to the next icon, which next to that, it's like a little cloud in the shape of a little cloud. Has an arrow pointing down. That's the most significant thing you can do for the podcast. That's the download button. Click that download button to download the episode of the Narrative Podcast. So that's the way you support the platform. If you don't do any of those other options, please click the download button, and the download button is the icon in the shape of a cloud. It seems to be a cloud to me, from my perspective. It has a little arrow pointing down. Click on that, and that's how you download the episode of the Narrative Podcast. And just a sidebar to tack on to that, to all content creators, all visual content creators. So if you have a visual platform such as YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Live, whatever platform you're creating content for, that you're in front of a camera, to support my platform, the Narrative Podcast, what I would need you to do is to shout out the Narrative Podcast. It doesn't have to be a super duper long commercial. Just be like, hey, check out Halsey Allen on the Narrative Podcast. And so, appreciate you very much. So, like, comment, download all episodes and previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts sources from. And then my next project that I would like to promote is my poetry blog on blogger.com. It's called Hallzies Poetry Corner, and the link to that is www.mrhallziesblogs.com. And what that is just basically like a collection of my personal poetry that I blog. The unique thing about the my poems posted on that blog is that they're, very versatile. I literally have a poem for nearly every situation or experience in life. So, all my poetry on that blog site is 110% relatable. You're guaranteed to resonate with a portion of a piece or the entire poem. Like you're going to find a little bit of piece of yourself in all my work posted on that poetry site. Another unique thing about the poetry posted on that blog is they're just spontaneously written in the moment, and it's kind of, it's a little bit misleading because the poems are so specific and intricate and almost intentional. But I swear on like 90 stacks of Bibles, I didn't premeditate any of the subject matter posted in each piece. I didn't think too hard about what I was going to title each piece. I just posted it up there. Like, it just literally, like, all the pieces just literally popped into my mind. Like, that's just how spontaneous they are. But go check them out. You will love them. You're guaranteed to relate to all the poems posted on Hallzies Poetry Corner. Now, I do have poems just specifically for our community, the original people community, but for the most part, the poems on Hallzies Poetry Corner is for everybody to enjoy. Like, no matter what what your background is, what you identify as, with your religion, race, color, creed, ethnicity, whatever, you're guaranteed to find a poem that you enjoy on Hallzies Poetry Corner. So go check them out today. Hallzies Poetry Corner at www.mrhallziesblogs.com on blogger.com. And the way you support Hallzies Poetry Corner is simply to share the link to Hallzies Poetry Corner, which is www.mrhallziesblogs.com, or a poem featured on Hallzies Poetry Corner across all platforms. And then, of course, once you reached the site, each piece has a comment box at the bottom of them. So please leave me a comment in the comment box on Hallzies Poetry Corner. And then, of course, hit the like button as well. And the like button on Hallzies Poetry Corner is in the shape of a heart. So click the heart, share, comment all the poems on Hallzies Poetry Corner. And for my visual content creators, same deal for the Narrator Podcast. if you got a visual platform such as YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, anything where you're delivering content in front of a camera, just shout out Hallzies Poetry Corner, or a poem, the title of a poem that you like on the blog site. Just a quick little shout. That'll help tremendously. So, visit the link, www.mrhallziesblogs.com, read the poem, hit the like button, comment, share. And that's how you support Hallzies Poetry Corner. And then the last thing I would like to promote before moving on to the synopsis of the Narrator podcast is my book of poetry that I've written. I've written a book of poetry titled The Black Card. The Black Card is available on poetizer.com. Poetizer.com is a social media platform for writers, and they have a virtual online bookstore that the people in that community can share their books. They have a self-publishing feature for the people in that community, and after they've created their book using their self-publishing feature, they can upload it to their virtual online bookstore. And that's precisely what I've done. I wrote a book of poetry titled The Black Card, and it's available for purchase on poetizer.com inside their virtual online bookstore. So go check it out today. Now what the book is about, it's a 30-page book of poetry chronicling all the experiences black people have, both positive and negative. It's just an all-encompassing snapshot of our people as a whole. It's just basically like a day in the life of / how-to / survival guide about our people. And I've just really masterfully crafted it into 30 creative, detailed poems that just really captures our essence as a people. So you're guaranteed to like it if you're an original man or an original woman. You're guaranteed to just, embrace the each piece. It'll just speak to your spirit and resonate with your soul. Even people who are not of our culture, they can enjoy it too, if they consider themselves open-minded and progressive and like learning about different cultures. They can read that book and enjoy it. They have children, you could probably buy that for them too, and it can be a learning experience for both of you. I would even say if you're like educators, if you're a literary teacher, teach writing or something, you can share that with your class. You might even point out some grammatical errors, I don't know, but you're guaranteed to enjoy that book. So go to poetizer.com, go to the virtual online bookstore, and purchase my book, The Black Card, written by me, Halsey Allen. And do it today, not tomorrow. Purchase the Black Card or get your Black Card revoked. And so that's all my poem projects that I have to promote. But I do have one more last thing I want to say about my podcast. So when you're downloading episodes of the Narrator Podcast, make sure they're the ones hosted by me, Halzie Allen, Hallzie, Allen, Allen, because there are literally thousands upon thousands of podcasts titled the Narrator Podcast. So just make sure you're downloading mine. And that's it. Mine is the only one that matters. Alright, so now we're going to dive into the synopsis of the Narrator Podcast before diving into the content this evening on this weekend edition of the Narrator Podcast. So let's start at the top. Tippy the name. I named my podcast the Narrative Podcast because I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original people culture. So what I wanted to do to counter the way the media falsely, inaccurately, and divisively portrays our images and our likenesses is to design a platform where I'm highlighting and showcasing us at our best through positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And so with the Narrative Podcast, my mission statement is to inform the listening audience as to why it's important to responsibly utilize your platforms to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, and also to encourage the listening audience to responsibly use their platforms to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Hence the title, The Narrative Podcast. And I think that's a good segue to my tagline, The Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original people culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes about our people and our culture? By providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And that's kind of entirely what the Narrative Podcast is all about. Me using this platform to provide positive frames of reference about our people and our culture to counter the media's negative frames of reference about our people and our culture. Alright, so the first thing you need to be aware of the Narrative Podcast is I refer to our, pardon me, jumped ahead of myself. Yeah, no, I'm good. My bad. So the first thing you need to be aware of the Narrative Podcast is I refer to my listening audience as my narrators. And I refer to them as my narrators to really just acknowledge the times that we're living in. We're living in the digital information age. We gather, we share, we network, we interact with one another, we sell goods and services online. And so essentially, when we're doing all this, all digital platforms generally have a bio section. And in the bio section, you write a little bit about yourself. If you're, online to socially interact, to network, or to just, be social. And then you upload visual content reflective of what you've written in your bio section. Now, if you're a business, you're going to upload visual content of your product as you put your product in the bio section. And when you're uploading visual content, it's the best representation of what you've written in your bio section. So essentially, you're telling or narrating your own story. Now, even the dictionary defines a narrator as one who narrates or tells stories. So, that's what you're doing online. You're narrating your own story. And typically, when you're narrating your own story, you're telling the best possible version of yourself. If you're online selling something, you're using the best possible visual representation of your product to be reflective of your company. When you're online socializing, your visual content is the best possible version of whatever is listed in your bio section. So if you like planes, you like to fly, you're going to be uploading pictures of you. If you have the income threshold, you in the private jet, a cabin cruiser, whatever they call it, real luxurious. You're going to be uploading pictures of that. If you like the boat, you're going to be uploading pictures with you on the boat. Bottom line, best possible version of yourself, of your story. The best possible visual representation of your story. So that's what I mean by when I call my target listening audience my narrators. We need to be, as narrators, sharing the best visual representation of our people as possible. And the best possible visual representation of our people would be to depict ourselves from our true essence. And our true essence is kings and queens, gods and goddesses of the universe. That's how we need to be reflected across all forms of media. So that's what I mean when I call my target listening audience my narrators. And your job as a narrator is to share the best possible visual representation of yourself. So we need to be showing visual content reflective of strong family structure. Us being together, unified as a family unit, engaged in wholesome family activities. Us engaged in unity and harmony in our communities, being able to cohabitate with one another peacefully, to solve problems, to band together for the common good of the neighborhood, keeping our streets clean, keeping our children safe, having our neighborhood look visually appealing, not broken glass everywhere. That's what we need, the type of content we need to be sharing online. We need to be sharing us excelling and winning in life visually, being intellectual, caring and conducting ourselves with dignity, grace, pride, self-worth, value, honor. That's, the best possible representation of our people. Being humane towards one another and everybody whom we encounter. What we don't need to be visually reflecting is the negative stereotypes and the stigmas that the media places over us. We don't need to be regurgitating those visual images of us online. We don't need to be regurgitating the image of the gangbanger. We don't need to be regurgitating the image of the drug dealer or the drug addict or the alcoholic. We don't need to regurgitate people just being buffoonish, engaging in silliness, just buffoonish silliness online. We don't need to be super serious, but we don't have to be buffoonish. We don't need to be embracing degeneracy of any kind. We don't need to be visually perpetuating the negative stereotype of the angry black man. We don't need to be visually perpetuating the negative stereotype of the angry black woman. We don't need to be visually perpetuating the negative stereotype of the pimp or the whore. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I call my target listening audience my narrators. That's the job of a narrator, to put out the best possible visual representation of our people. You don't have to follow celebrities, because they don't got it all together all the time. They just look like they do. You can make yourself the star of your platform. All the good things you got going on in your life. It could be with your job, if you're working a 9-to-5 job, your business, if you own a business, your activities, volunteering, giving back, traveling, just being upbeat and happy, you smiling all the time. But that's how we change the narrative visually. That's how we change the narrative online. I keep saying visually, I forget, we do have people within our community without sight, but they engage and interact online too with all these modern day advancements we have. I'm sure they, I don't know too many people without sight, but I'm pretty sure they do have Facebook pages and stuff. But anyway, next thing you need to be aware of the Narrator Podcast. This is a positive space. I don't engage in any negativity, gossip, slander, name calling, put downs, roasting. I try to keep this as positive a space as possible. This is just a safe, positive space for original people. It's all about, edification and uplifting. I'm building up, not tearing down. And I'm encouraging my listening audience to build up and not to tear down. Because when we tear down one another, we're tearing down, our world. You think it's just individual, but, we're perceived in a worldwide scope. We are the most impactful people on the planet. So when other people outside of our culture see us, disagreeing with one another and trying to hurt each other with words online or television or wherever, that's, what they think about all of us. They use a generalization and just believe we're all, vengeful and hateful and, not pleasant to be around. So, Now, do we have to pretend to be perfect? No, you ain't got to pretend to be perfect. I'm very sure that some people are just plain old irritating, unlikable. There are just some people like that. I don't know what's wrong with their personality. There's some people you can't be nice to. I use this analogy all the time. Our brother, dearly departed, Rodney King, he asked the rhetorical question, can we all just get along? And the answer to that brother's question is no, we can't. And that's just, human nature. You're not going to agree with everybody. You're not going to like everybody. You can't be everybody's cup of tea. You're not everybody's cup of tea. Everybody, I don't care, what your spiritual or religious discipline is, there's somebody out there that works your nerves. That you just really got to go to the higher power and, hope they just stay away from you. We all got that person. We are all that person to somebody else. But, having said that, what we shouldn't do is air out our grievances online. We shouldn't be, dedicate our spaces to circulate hatred or dislike or disdain towards one another. So, longer story short, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. You can not like somebody, but you don't have to, get online to disrespect. You don't have to drag them all up and down Twitter or Facebook or, whatever the platform is. Just stay away from it. Very simple. But anyway, like I said, the Narrator Podcast is a safe space. My sole purpose is just to encourage positive reinforcement of our people and our culture. Celebrating our accomplishments and achievements. And like I said, just creating a sound atmosphere where we can be prideful, giving us the option to see, or rather hear, because it's an audio platform, hear positivity, hear something uplifting and impactful, life affirming. And that's the energy of the Narrator Podcast. So having said that, I deliver commentary on here as well. And it is inevitable that, when I'm delivering commentary, from time to time will commentate on a celebrity from our community because they're in the news for whatever reason, and usually the reason is something negative, unfortunately. So if I ever bring up a famous person's name, just be aware that it's never, anything malicious. I'm not trying to drag their name through the mud. I'm not trying to denigrate them in any way. When I'm delivering commentary, on my platform, I try to frame it up from the bigger picture perspective. So the narrative that I always try to set up on the Narrator Podcast when speaking about people from our community is from the bigger picture perspective, and the bigger picture perspective is like, you know, when something negative is going on in our community, it's usually a combination of two things, which is systemic oppression and psychological programming and conditioning. So, you know, if there's something negative, a celebrity's involved in something negative, you can almost pinpoint it back to systemic oppression and psychological programming and conditioning. You know, whatever environment they're in, systematically, the system played a role in that some type of way. And then also we've been psychologically programmed and conditioned to perceive one another a certain way, to respond to each other a certain way, and interact with each other a certain way. And all those certain ways are like negative because we're programmed with the movies, we're programmed with television, we're programmed with music, we're programmed with literature, advertisements. All those sources of media are all negative. So, you know, when we become, as they say, the clinical term, triggered, when we become emotional triggered, you know, it's because we've been programmed and conditioned to do so by the powers that shouldn't be. It's like you can't create a monster and then cry when your village gets trampled. You know, you did that. So yes, I am for self-accountability. We do, all full-grown adults, people. You don't even have to be a full-grown adult to know right from wrong and be accountable for your own actions and deeds. But on a whole, when it comes to our people, it would be folly to not, you know, acknowledge systemic oppression and psychological programming and conditioning. You know, that's a form of control. It's psychological warfare, what they've done to us. And what they trick us into doing to each other. So that's, you know, the only reason why I would ever like bring up a famous person's name is just to unpack it, you know, from our perspective, because the media have us looking and sounding crazy. So, you know, that's me trying to control the narrative when I'm talking about, you know, current events. But to sum it up, the Narrator Podcast is a positive space for original people. Next thing you need to be aware of, the Narrator Podcast is a very brief broadcast. I try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast. It's a little hard to do because I'm an audio platform, so if I go over an hour, I try not to hold you longer than like 20 minutes over an hour. You know, because when I'm recording, I got like a little number counter to tell you how long the episode is, but when you're listening to it, it really doesn't sound like over an hour. Like right now, I'm at the 45-minute. So when I'm done, it'll probably say 2, but when you're listening, it'll probably sound like 45, like half an hour. But my goal is not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast. Because I'm an audio platform, I don't want to bore you to sleep. I don't want to deliver redundant content, just repeating myself over and over, and you know, being monotone and basically losing the listener. And the quickest way to lose somebody is to bore them. So I definitely, don't want to bore you to sleep. I want to keep you attentive. I want to keep you, eager, wanting to hear what I got to say. Looking forward to my next broadcast, but I can't do that if I'm boring you out of your mind. So, I try to make it brief to the point. Every subject I discuss, I have speaking points. I try to time my content. I do a dry run through actually before I start broadcasting, and to try to make it semi-professional, I do a dry run through. But stuff happens, background noises, weird stuff with my voice, time to time, stuff happens. But for the most part, I just try to keep it brief and to the point, just short and sweet. I don't want to beat you over the head with the message. And I just, present the content and really just hope you can get something out of it and apply it and use these positive frames of reference as a reference point when you're sharing content or stories about our people and our culture. So I just try to keep it short and sweet and to the point. And then very last thing you need to know about the Narrator podcast is I refer to our people. And by our people, I mean black people, Negro, whatever you want to call us, as original people on the Narrator podcast. And I refer to our people as original people for two reasons. Reason number one, it's historically accurate. We were and are the original people of this planet. There was not a single landmass that we didn't already occupy before everybody else on the planet. Like, we was, name a place, there was a large concentration of our people already residing and dwelling in that area. Whatever it is, any place you can think of. Like even the North and South Pole was already there. We didn't just, stay in one spot in early times. Of course, we traveled from the original point of origin that we're from and went to other places. And not only that, we originated everything. Every modern day invention can pretty much be attributed to us. You name like a current modern day invention we use every single day, we invented an ancient form of it. We invented the prototype for it. Something. We contributed to it some type of way. We were the original educators. We were the original philosophers. We was the originals astronomers and astrologists. We were the original scientists. We were the original mathematicians, the original architects, original agriculturists, horticulturists, biologists, chemists, whatever you could think of. All fields. We was the first. We was the original doctors. So that's what I mean when I refer to our people as original from the historical perspective. Now, why I refer to our people as original on the unity side of it is to unify us as a people by giving us, one universal thing to call ourselves. Because black ain't cutting it. Black is a color. Your shoes are black. Your shirt is black. Your hat is black. When you close your eyelids, that's black. When you close your eyes, that's black. People are not. We do have extremely dark-skinned people within our culture, but we're not black. We're definitely not African American. We're definitely not Afro anything. There's no such as Afro as a hairstyle. No such thing as Afro Latino, Afro Asian, Afro Mexican, Afro whatever. No, you're just original. It was already like all dark skinned, brown skinned people were original. And and more to the point, people outside of our culture, when they look at us, they don't call us by our nationality. They don't look at you and be like, hey, that's a Jamaican man. Hey, that's a Nigerian. That's a this or that. They just call us black and be done with it. But we refer to ourselves as all these different monikers. FBA. Haitian. Guyanese. Whatever, you know what I mean? So I refer to ourselves as keep it cut and dry. We're original people who was here first. Everything came from us. And not only that, just the term original is just so powerful. You know how much respect that commands to be the first, unique of its kind, the original copy. Pretty much all things pale in comparison to the original. You have to have a first before you have a next. Everything was crafted after our images and our likenesses. Every other person on this planet came from us. We are the original. That's how important we are. Not saying we're better than anybody, but damn it, we sure ain't inferior to anybody. We're original. Now, a sub point I want to tack on to that point is, I do it every single episode. I just want to debunk this, false narrative about slavery. The powers that shouldn't be has made slavery the most impactful part of our existence. When the truth of the matter is, just like I said, when I was breaking down the historical significance of referring to our people as original, is that we was here first. We existed on every single continent. There was large concentrations of us. Thousands of years before anybody ever conceived in their minds to enslave us. So said all that to say, if you got black people living in Germany, they didn't get there on slave boats. If you got black people living in the UK, they didn't get there on the slave boat. You got black people living here in America, we most certainly, I guarantee you, did not come over here on the slave boat. Almost 80% of us was already originally located here. So when they saying the Pilgrims raped the Indians, they're talking about us. We was. Not these people that got these hotels. They are the Mongol people. The Hollywood Indians, the ones that go, hey, they're not the original ones. We were. They just put us on plantation, called us black, and put us on plantations and put us to work. So not saying, they didn't come and get some people from Africa. They did come and get some people from Africa and drop them off on all the places along the transatlantic slave route. Some, not all, and it didn't go on for hundreds of years either. And our participation in it is very minimal. Some of us did betray our tribes. Not all. A few of us did. There was a few of us that was misguided, but it didn't go on for hundreds of years. And another big lie they told, well, y'all enslaved y'all's own people. No, we had indentured servants. We had prisoners of war and we had indentured servants, meaning it was like a period where they can go free. We didn't just, when you enslave somebody, there ain't no end to it. It's generation after generation after generation, and that's not what that was when we was doing it. So why so much deception? Why keep on, perpetuating the slave narrative? It's fear and trauma conditioning. Remember what I said? Psychological programming and conditioning. When you look at our people as a whole, we still have an enslaved state of mind. A lot of us still behave like slaves. We gotta sit up here and beg and ask master's permission to navigate through life. We worried about offending white people, being afraid of white people, of what's going to happen to us if we offend or frighten somebody white. This is hundreds of years in the making. By constantly showing us these images, and then we don't challenge the knowledge. Where's all this coming from? Again, the slave mentality, because slaves weren't allowed to learn. But when you use your conscious mind and question these forms of knowledge, you will see what they've done to us. Just, from the Hollywood perspective, why are slave movies the highest grossing film still in 24 in Hollywood? The slave movie comes out right now, it'll be a blockbuster. And if it's not a blockbuster, if it ends up being a flop, it'll be the most overhyped trailers in the world. Because they're not really worried about it making money. They're trying to send a message. Because America is ran by these Fortune 500 companies. And essentially they have us all enslaved. But they want their biggest commodity, us, our people, original people, still under their heel. So, that's just what I want to just point out about slavery. And not only that, they use it as a tool to divide us as a people. We fighting amongst each other, our brothers and sisters over in Africa. Y'all ain't none of us. Y'all weak. Y'all got caught in the slave trade. Nah, brother, we didn't get caught in the slave trade. We was just already here and y'all forgot about us. That type of division going on. We think they better than us. We think we better than them. Well, I think you got a pretty good gist of the Narrator podcast. So now I'm going to dive on into this content. If you're still a little hazy, I'm well over 300 episodes in. You can catch yourself up to speed by going through my episode log. And remember to download this episode and our previously recorded episodes of the Narrator podcast wherever you get your podcast source from. All right. So now here we go, diving into this weekend edition of the Narrator podcast. Now I have two different format styles. I have a weekday format style and then a weekend format style. So my last weekday that I broadcast was, I believe it was Thursday of this week. So my weekday format style, I have two sections. And on my weekend format style, I have three more sections in addition to the two. But they're completely different. So the weekday I just do for my positive frame of reference is positive news articles and then commentary. So I got three additional sections on the weekend. But I just bring you up to speed right now. I'm going to start things off for a positive frame of reference. A section I call the highlight section. And what the highlight section is, my positive frame of reference is business ownership. And the reason why I feel I need to, do a positive frame of reference of ownership is because we have so very few positive frames of reference about ownership. And the very few frames of reference that we have about ownership come to us via scripted reality television shows. Typically on these shows, they are brought to us from a degenerate standpoint. These scripted reality television producers have our brothers and sisters on there being messy. So they don't care anything about the brothers and sisters earning, 5 figures or better a year, having multiple companies up underneath their umbrella, taking care of multiple people's families, helping their communities, having non-profit organizations, being involved in, philanthropy, giving back to the community. What they want to focus the lens on these scripted reality television shows is us engaged in lewdness and degeneracy. They want to see us fighting each other, on camera, fornicating on camera, engaging in illegal substances on camera, inebriated on camera, fornicating on camera. So they want to just capture us being, low level activity, engaging in low vibrational activity. They don't want to see us uplifting and edifying our people. They don't want to see us walking upright and dignified on camera. They definitely don't want to see us speaking articulately and behaving intelligently on camera. They don't want to see none of that. They just focus on views, ratings. So that's why I'm doing the highlight section. I'm bypassing all the drama, and I'm walking you through a business owner's journey, their entire journey, how they came up with the idea, a little bit about themselves, their bio section, where they was born and raised, and their value systems growing up, and how that seed to start their own business germinated in their mind, and the prototype stage into the finished product that is the business that exists today. That's what I'm doing in the highlight section. It's just basically walking you through a business owner's journey, giving you that positive frame of reference that yes, you too can become a business owner if you so choose to. Because like I said, the powers that be control the media, and they don't want us to see positive images of us. They don't want us seeing us owning and running our own business and winning and succeeding and progressing in life. They don't want to see visual representations of that. Or rather, they don't want us seeing visual representations of that, because they want to keep us stuck right where we are. So some qualifying factors I use to select the businesses that I highlight in the highlight section on the Narrative Podcast fall under these categories. Number one, of course, they're owned and operated by original people. They hire their own. They're engaged in some type of philanthropy, some type of community outreach. They're either paying into a nonprofit organization, or they have their very own nonprofit organization. And then last but not least, they coincide with my theme. And my ongoing theme for the businesses that I select in the highlight section are nationally recognized days. So now that you know what the highlight section is about, let's dive in. So today, in commemoration, today is September 7th. So actually it's not a nationally recognized day. It's a whole September is organic month. September is the month of, all things organic. It's a nationally recognized month. So the businesses that I will be highlighting coincide with this nationally recognized month. And to commemorate Organic Month, I will be highlighting organic grocers. So the first business I'll be highlighting in the highlight section on this weekend edition of the Narrative Podcast is an organic grocer called Supermarket. And the spelling of it is shorthand. It's not the entire word. Supermarket. It's just SUPRMKT. It was established in 2016 by a sister by the name of Olympia Offset. Olympia is an LA native. She attended Howard University. Where she studied journalism and public relations. So she got a degree in journalism, public relations, and she studied sociology. Now, the idea to open an organic grocery store, or rather it's a farmer's market, it's not an actual grocery store, but her idea to open that germinated as a youth. She grew up vegan. She never ate meat, and living in LA, in the part of LA she lived in a food desert. So meaning she was just surrounded by corner stores, like, liquor stores. So anybody in California knows in the hood, it's like a liquor store on almost every other corner. Convenience stores. Nothing too like fresh produce. But I am a little confused because California is like the home of veggie, all things vegan. Like that was the precursor for the vegan lifestyle. Like in California, they was on, tofu in the 70s. It was on like quinoa and tofu and kale and all that in the 70s. That's what they was eating on. And like in California also, fruit grows everywhere. Like there's neighborhoods with, every type of fruit you can think of. Grapes and citrus fruit and coconut and I don't know about coconut. But anything that grows on a vine, anything that grows in a tree, apples, oranges, like definitely grapes, strawberries. Like it's literally gangs named after fruits that grow on the street in California. But anyway, I guess the article, it just says she was living in a part of LA. There was a food desert, so she wanted to come up with a way to supply fresh, clean food on a continuous basis to people that lived in that area. So that's where she came up with the concept of supermarket. Now, I couldn't find any articles to tell me how she came up with the funding for supermarket, but it does just go on to say it is a registered 501c nonprofit organization. Pro tip, all entrepreneurs. So when you start a business, make sure, in addition to just starting a business, make sure you register a 501c nonprofit organization to your business. And the benefit of having a 501c is that essentially you can pay yourself. Because when you use profits from your business, you can pay into your 501c nonprofit organization, and it gets, you get a deduction, a tax write-off for that. So it's like a deductible, like a charitable, you know what I'm saying, thing that you get wrote off on your taxes, and you get a tax break and tax credit for it, and essentially like the money comes right back to you, and you can't get penalized for anything in the business. So like 501c's is the way to go. And then another thing you want to do when you start your own business too is have a ministry. In a ministry, you get the same breaks as a 501c as well. And the ministry is just like, it's a little bit complex. Your paperwork has to be up to code, because they check on you every couple like months. But you just essentially have to have a mission statement and a value system. It doesn't, when you say ministry, you just automatically think church. It doesn't have to be church. It doesn't have to even be religious. It just has to be something that impacts the community in a positive way. Just trying to give you some free game. But anyway, her business also has a 501c, is classified as a 501c nonprofit organization. They use healthy, clean, sustainable food to service the community at an affordable price. They also take EBT as well, all forms of payment, and they also take EBT. And then they have other programs to participate in. They got a delivery. You can sign up to have your fresh, clean food delivered to you. You can also donate food to their nonprofit organization. And then oh yeah, so she established the supermarket in 2016. That's when she officially launched it. To find out more, go to supermarket. Now online is spelled market. I don't know why, but no. Go to Supermarket LA, SUPRMARKET.LA, and the physical address is 325 West Slauson Avenue, LA 90047. And it's open Monday through Saturday, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. You can also sign up for a delivery at superfresh.net, or you can donate to the nonprofit organization at superseed.org. And they also have another program you can participate in. It's called the 1-for-1 program. And what that is, it's a program where you have the opportunity to give back to people in the community by purchasing a box of pre-assorted clean items for the community. So like, a box consisting of fresh produce and other clean, healthy snacks for people that live in that community. It's already pre-packaged. You can just like pick it up and deliver it yourself, put it where somebody in need can get to it, or he can have them do it. And they have a lot of stations all throughout Los Angeles. And that's pretty much everything about Supermarket. Now, some more interesting things about our sister Olympia was a story was featured on LA Times, Complex, USA Today, Forbes magazine. And then she was also featured on the Meet Me Halfway documentary. She also was interviewed in the Huffington Post. And she was also a guest on Ellen DeGeneres. And then they also have one more program. It's called the Super Seed program. And what they do is they host events, provide workshops, deliver natural products, and host giveaways. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about Supermarket. So if you are a LA native, go out there and support, or go online and support. And let's give a warm Narrative podcast round of applause for our sister Olympia and Supermarket, located in Los Angeles. Now, the next business that I will be featured in the highlight section on this weekend edition of the Narrative Podcast is a company called District Market Green Grocer. It was established in around 2021 by a brother by the name of Robert Thomas. And you can visit them online at districtgreengrocer.com. or call them at 832-680-3234. And if you have any questions about District Green Grocer, you can go to info@districtmarketgrocer.com. The physical address, if you're in Texas, is 3337 Cypress Creek Parkway, Houston, Texas 77068. So about Robert Thomas, he was somewhere on the East Coast. The article didn't say where he was, but he has an East Coast accent. He moved to Texas. He even said in the interview that he moved to Texas in the early 2000s. He ended up opening a nightclub called District 1960. He later obviously changed it into a grocery. His nightclub, along with all the other businesses in that particular area of Texas, got shut down due to the global pandemic. Remember when they shut down all the non-essential places to work? So his business was among them. So his bar got shut down, and you know, he didn't have any income coming in or anything. He lost everything. But during the pandemic, one thing he noticed was all the black companies in that area that didn't get shut down rallied around each other and helped each other and promoted each other's business. And they stayed afloat during the pandemic. And basically, like, all the food places were still open, places to buy food. The main places that stayed packed were grocery stores. And then, if you remember, like, all the grocery stores during the pandemic had curbside delivery because nobody wanted to go in the grocery store because, you know, the 6 feet apart thing, and it was just easier to have them bring your groceries out to you. But anyway, that's what, you know, his entrepreneurial mind kicked in. It's like, hey, you know, let me see what I can see and open up a little grocery store of my own. And then, of course, he wanted to make his grocery store organic to take full advantage of Texas' warm climate, because it got a lot of open space to grow things. So a lot of locally sourced product from different vendors. And essentially that's how District Market Greengrocer came to be. And the concept also is, you know, he promotes and endorses, he's made it into a hub for essentially a co-op for black-owned vendors. So, like, you know, he networks with everybody in Texas or abroad who has, you know, product, organic product. So he wants to provide healthy, clean food for the people that live in that area. And that's really all it says about his story. How he opened up his business. There wasn't a whole lot online. Like I said, when I do the highlight section, I try to walk you through the entrepreneur's entire journey, but sometimes that information just isn't readily available, and it wasn't. So I was lucky to find out the little tidbits that I did find out. But he's also appeared on the Ellen show, the Ellen DeGeneres show. He's been on there, and it's his interview is actually, you got to paste it on the website so you can see his full Ellen DeGeneres interview on the site when you go to districtgreengrocer.com. So let's give a warm Narrative Podcast round of applause for our brother, Mr. Robert Thomas, and the districtgreengrocer.com in Houston, Texas. And then last but not least, I don't got too much information, but other than the contact info, there was not a whole lot about this brother. It just, it says he's the largest black-owned organic grocery store in Florida. And this is called Friendly, F-R-E-N-L-Y, Farms Market. It was established in 2017 by a brother by the name of Finley Matthews. And it doesn't really say why he chose an organic market But he did say in the interview he wants to service the community and employ people within the community. So he's giving back by hiring his own and providing them clean, sustainable food sources. So everything is organic, freshest of the fresh. Florida, you're getting that good produce, that good seafood. So everything's super fresh. I haven't really, he didn't really say too much in his interview other than just what I just said of why he opened the business. I have seen a plethora of reviews, foodies and food vloggers giving it a really good high rating in their personal experience from shopping there. That's why I chose to put it in the highlight section. But there's not really too much information about Mr. Matthews to give you. So all I can really do is just plug it. If you're ever in Lauderdale, Florida, go hit it up. Finley Farms Market, 6630 West Oakland Park Boulevard, Lauderdale, Florida, 33313, and the telephone number is 954-289-8111. And that, once again, the name is that is Friendly Farms Market. And they don't have an email address. They only advertise on Facebook. So go to their Facebook page, Friendly Farms Market, and you will see all the pictures and all the satisfied customers and, a panoramic full picture of the inside and the outside of the market. So let's give a warm Narrative Podcast round of applause to our brother Finley Matthews at Friendly Farms Market. All right, moving right along. The next section here on the Narrative Podcast is the Spotlight section. And this section is basically designed to, deliver positive reinforcement of someone in our community that is doing positive things in the community and impacting the community in a positive way through their deeds. So also having said that, in the past, I reserved the Spotlight section for entertainers. Basically, I would spotlight, recording artists, comedians, athletes, public figures, YouTubers, TikTokers, just basically anybody on the internet, anybody famous, and a few like religious figures as well. But as of late, I've really been trying to spotlight just normal people, to break away from the negative stereotype that all we know how to do is entertain. So I don't want to entertain the entertainment myth. So as of late, I've really been trying to hyper focus to spotlight just regular old people. So basically, this section is, giving a person their roses while they're still here. / all heroes don't wear capes. slash just you know, giving the example of positive, how to properly use positive reinforcement and responsibly utilize your platform to deliver positive frames of reference and to uplift and edify rather than tear down and destroy your brother or sister online. Because unfortunately our people has been corrupted, brainwashed, and conditioned to believe the only way you can check a bag online is to engage in some negative activity, such as gossip and slander, name calling, airing out dirty laundry. You know, it's incentivized. There is a large bag for you to check, you know, if you want to engage in that type of negative activity. And we got a slew. I'm not going to name all the names, you know, the major ones whose content is completely negative and intentionally negative. And they tell you in interviews why they're so negative is just really for to generate content for the clicks and the views, you know, to get the bag. So unfortunately, when you play that game, some people take the internet super serious and they will pop up on you and do something to you. So you might get make substantial amount of substantial bags and a substantial amount of money from being negative online, but eventually it's going to catch up to you. And when it catches up to you from using your platform, from always, you know, getting at people, like, is all that money going to be worth it? When you're sitting up in the hospital bed, or, you know, worse. But the people that incentivize the negative behavior, they could care less. Because you see the people that incentivize us attacking each other online, they're faceless corporations. You know, they're making money hand over fist with us attacking each other, and they can care less if we, you know, unalive each other. They can care less if we make a damn fool out of ourselves and a fool out of our communities and a fool out of our parents, you know. But anyway, so yeah, that's what the Narrator Podcast is all about. You know, just putting out the positive frame of reference about positive reinforcement, you know, congratulating somebody, saying something nice about somebody, rather than something hurtful or denigrating. That's what the spotlight section is all about. Just, you know, giving a person their just dues for the positive work that they do in the community. But not for nothing, your brother, me, Halsey Allen, created the way for spotlighting. Because before I added the spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrative Podcast, nobody was spotlighting anybody. Now every time you go watch YouTube, you know, watch a podcast where they're interviewing people or anything. It could even be like plug-in products. They'll say, you know, today on the spotlight we'll be spotlighting people, and you know, today we'll be spotlighting this person, that person, etc., etc., etc. But nobody was like using that term so loosely before I incorporated into my content. So, as the old saying goes, imitation is flattery. Or the best form of imitation is the best form of flattery. So I'm flattered that so many people are now using the term spotlight. I feel I've coined the term spotlighting. I mean, you can go through my episode log and cross-reference and fact check, but I think you will see that nobody was doing it. Nobody was saying it. So yeah.
You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
In a real way. But yeah, this internet makes the world small. It's like, I got some really famous, influential people listening to this platform. It might not, the stats really don't tell an accurate story of my reach and my impact, or how I'm impacting, rather, the culture comfortably from behind my microphone without even exposing my face. That I'm causing so many shockwaves and ripples on the internet. Because it's like everything I say will appear in somebody else's feed, somebody else's content. And not just what I say, all my cadences, the way I say the things I say. So that lets me know who's watching me, or rather listening to me, who's just kind of silently, I guess the term is trolling. In a good way though, not trying to mock me or make fun of me, but I know who's listening. And they know I know who's they listening to me. So it's all good, and I ain't in it for recognition. I definitely ain't in it for money. If I was in it for money, I'd have quit a long time ago. But point being, I'm creating an impact with my content. So in my content, my reach is expanding and expanding and expanding. So I'm influencing a lot of people without actually even showing my face. It just boggles my mind sometimes. But anyway, on into this week's spotlight on the Narrative Podcast. This week's spotlight goes to a sister by the name of Layla F. Saad. Layla is an author, podcaster, activist, and educator. She grew up in a white Christian community in the UK. Layla's mother is from Zanzibar, Tanzania, and her father's from Mombasa, Kenya. They both moved to Wales, and of course, obviously, they got together and they made her. But the article didn't say whether they got married or not. I'm guessing it's implied. I don't know. Like we all family, act like we all got here and our parents got married. All of the same, products of traditional marriages. But anyway, So she was born in Wales, and then later they moved to the Middle East, Qatar, after she turned 15. Then she moved back to the UK to attend college and earned her Bachelor's of Law from Lancaster University. She made her big splash in 2017 when she wrote a blog titled, "I Need to Talk to a Spiritual White Woman About White Supremacy." So then she really upset the algorithm in 2018 by starting an Instagram challenge called Me and White Supremacy. It was a hashtag challenge. And then from that, she wrote a book titled Me and White Supremacy. And then, of course, her book placed number 10 on the New York Times bestsellers list. So she's also a podcaster. She has many podcast episodes. They're all uploaded on YouTube and TikTok. So your best bet is just to type her name into the YouTube browser to, find all of her podcast uploads. She has some pretty impactful guests on her show, ranging from all fields. Really good intellectual type stuff. So to find out more about her current projects, you can visit her homepage at laylafsaad.com. And Saad is spelled with 2 A's, S-A-A-D. So basically the sister is Islamic, if you did not know that. And me reading between the lines, I believe her being exposed to, racist, air quotes, Puritan white Christians kind of was a vehicle for her to convert from Christianity to Islam. Now I know her bio says they moved to Qatar, and they're heavily, like pretty much everybody over there is Islamic too, but I think that probably like her exposure to that at an early age kind of sealed the deal. The sister's also been featured in Time magazine, and her book Me and White Supremacy is available on Amazon. And then her YouTube channel is called Become a Good Ancestor. Her podcast is called Become a Good Ancestor. So subscribe to that. Go on YouTube and subscribe to that. So yeah, the sister wears many hats. She's bringing intelligence to the table. I gotta say, she's like completely alluring without showing her, nakedness. Like she's very attractive without showing no boobs, and got her meats hanging out. So, she is a good specimen of femininity as well. So let's join me in giving our sister Layla F. Saad a warm narrative podcast round of applause for all her many, many intellectual endeavors and, projecting those positive visual frames of reference about us and our culture. All right, now on to my next section, guys. This section is called the health and wellness section. In this section, what I talk about is implied in the title, health and wellness. I feel it's important to give health and wellness topics or health and wellness advice to the listeners because my target demographic is original people. And unfortunately, our people, out of everybody on the planet, we are the most unhealthy. We're being attacked on all fronts. We're being attacked physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. However, in this section, I don't give financial advice because it's my philosophy. I believe health is wealth. Because if you can be very extremely financially wealthy, but if your physical well-being isn't up to par, all that money does you no good. So, I give health and wellness tips in this section. The types of tips that I give are, tips to help us fortify ourselves, or us. By us, I mean original people, in all the areas that we are being attacked, which is physically, mentally, spiritually. So the types of tips I would, give us on the physical side is just like the, properties of a fruit, vegetable, herb extract, or an elixir that you can ingest or apply topically to improve your physical well-being, or some type of physical exercise to help you, sustain yourself physically. And then for like a mental tip I would give, how to stay in good mental health. And our mental health is very shaky because we're being attacked mentally with all these subliminal attacks. They're just implanting all these subliminal messages into our minds via the media. It's in the music, all these suggestive things in the music, all these divisive things in movies, television shows, books, advertisements. They're just psychologically attacking our minds on a daily basis. So the types of tips I would give to, give good mental clarity and to focus and to stay in good mental health would be things like meditation, things like mindfulness, things like breathing, connecting with nature, how to create how to de-stress, how to create positive environments, how to decrease your anxiety, how to identify your emotional triggers, Because some people don't even know they having emotional triggers until it's too late. Until somebody pushed the button, they dig and they hit that button. Yeah, so yeah. Those, like, and a whole bunch of more stuff. I just trying to not go over this time limit that I set for myself. And then on the spiritual side of it, of course, spiritual tips to help guard your spirit, identify, negative spirits, what to do in case you're, if you feel spiritually attacked, how to see negative, bad entities, how to cleanse the room of spirits trying to cause you harm. And y'all, like, that spiritual attacks are not a joke. We are constantly under attack with dark demonic forces. And there are some people out there that know how to manipulate these dark demonic forces. Like, let's be very clear, there's no such thing really as good and evil. There's people with, goodness in their heart, and there's people with wickedness in their hearts. But far as, like all the things in religion that they teach you is witchcraft, within our culture it's meant to, heal, cause healing in the body and cause healing in the mind. But there's a few people in our culture, but for the most part, people outside of our culture has corrupted our practices and are doing negative things with it and projecting it onto you from large distances. So, the types of advice I would give in those areas is how to deflect those attacks, how to recognize those attacks, how to safeguard yourself from those attacks. Because evilness, wickedness is at foot and it's all around us, and you have to be conscious and cognitive of the spell caster. But that's essentially what the health and wellness section of the Narrator podcast is all about. I'm giving us, health and wellness tips to, maintain a healthy, active, fit lifestyle and, live in prosperity and abundance. And then just another sidebar. My podcast is for everybody to listen to, all walks of life, no matter what your color, creed, religion, ethnic background, whatever. But it's pretty much implied my target demographic is original people. So, I don't discriminate against other people, but all the subject matter that I, create on the Narrator podcast is targeted and marketed towards original people. Especially in this section. So, our people is being attacked. They're putting things in our food, putting things in our water, personal grooming supplies that we use like cosmetics, cleaning products that disrupt and destroy our unique genetic makeup. And then not to mention what I already told you, how they're psychologically attacking us through the media. And then also spiritually attacking us. So, that's what this section is all about. Just fortify original people's, bodies and minds against all the areas that we're being attacked. Now, where I'm going with this is the tips that I'm giving is exclusively for original people. So while like all my content is in general, I'm not discriminated against anybody. These tips that I'm giving on here in this section is just for our people, because I do not subscribe to that we are all one stuff. And we are one, like original people, we're one. Just like Caucasian people, they're all one. Culturally, Spanish people, they're all one. Asian people, they're all one. Italian people, they're all one. But we, everybody living in the world, are not all one. We all have different, unique genetic makeups. So, while things physically like within our culture, things we can eat, consume every day, people from another culture that can consume it and be like, yo, this is harmful, and vice versa. Religiously, I can't worship the Creator in the same regards, you worship the Creator, and then my spiritual well-being be all right. And the challenge that there's all types of different divisions and denominations of Christianity, different, denominations, perspective of Islam, and and if you don't do religion, if you're on the spiritual side of it, spirituality is practiced differently in all different cultures. And you got to be of that culture to get the full benefit. So we're not all the same. You dig? That's what I'm saying. We're not all the same. We're not. We just have, cultural differences. And we got to respect the cultural differences. Because, our people, the sun nourishes our people. It heals our bodies. It rejuvenates us. It energizes us. It repairs cell and nerve damage. People that do not look like us, the sun harms them. It gives them cancer, melanoma. Their skin flake and peel. They need protection from the sunlight. We can't get enough sunlight. It's also good for our mental health. The more of it that we're exposed to, the better we are physically. We're different, is what I'm saying. So especially, in this section. So that's why I'm doing the health and wellness section for my people, original people. Take it how you want to. But yeah. Anyway, this health and wellness tip is on the physical side of it. It is the importance of why it's important to have, good core strength. Well, I know what you're saying. Well, it's important for everybody to have good core strength. It is important for everybody to have good core strength, but especially our people, original people, because, we are susceptible to high cholesterol, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, gout, and other things. So good core strength will help, us stay healthy from, common diseases within our community, having a good core. So our core, like your core is in your stomach, keeping your stomach tight. So the main thing it will provide you having a good, strong core is gut health. Because believe it or not, like almost 90% of all the diseases, physical ailments in the body emanate from having poor gut health. Meaning, like all the bile in your stomach, all the fecal matter and fecal plaque, it's caked up inside of you, causing inflammation. So having a good tight core, that'll help get all that hard gunk out of you and help regulate your blood flow, help you breathe better, open up your breathing passages, relieve pressure on your joints. So that's the benefits of good gut health. Having a strong core will ensure good gut health. It'll also improve your posture. It'll improve your balance, equilibrium. It increases your blood flow. So there will be a less likely of retaining water anywhere on your body. There will be a less likelihood of feeling fatigued. It eliminates that. It also is good to build your endurance. So, it energizes you because when you're breathing right, you're moving right, you feel right. So good core strength is extremely important, especially within our culture, because culturally, a lot of us eat really, really dense nutrients in a bad way. Like we have really big meals, because a lot of us grow up low income and our parents give us a whole lot. Just in general, the typical American diet is super unhealthy. The portion sizes, the pairings, you're not supposed to pair like protein and starches, and you're not supposed to eat one thing. You're definitely not supposed to fill a big, giant charger plate full of food for nutrients to stay, healthy. But since we do, our people, we're going to need to have a really good core to help us, absorb all those nutrients and get them up out of us, all the leftover stuff up out of our systems. So it's just not just permeating and we just sticking undigested food on top of more undigested food on top of more undigested food. Because the reason why we have them big giant meals typically within our community, because a lot of us grow up low income, so our parents would just give us big giant meals to really just kind of make up for the lack of food. So like, children, if they don't see any food, that'll lead to, stress and like open that ice box, ain't nothing there. Open them cupboards, ain't nothing there. Like, so that's the mentality we grew up. Like if we get a lot in one meal, they'll feel full, stuff them, and then we got the rest of the day or the rest of the week to figure out how we're gonna make it. But yeah. And then typically those habits linger when we become adults. We find ourselves fixing and enjoying and partaking in these large portions, and there's no need for it. Even overeating healthy food is bad for you. Overdoing it with the portion sizes in a salad, or the portion sizes in grains. Too much of anything is bad for you. You know, the golden rule is an apple a day, not apples a day. Keep the doctor away. But the point is, we need to have good gut health to, you know, safeguard our bodies from overeating, and to, you know, excrete the leftover portions of those very large portions we consume on a daily basis. So good core strength, having a good healthy core is essential. So read up, do your own knowledge, do your own due diligence, but you know, pretty much every fitness trainer out there will agree that you must have a good, tight, healthy core. Now, when you're saying tight, healthy core, you just automatically think 6-pack abs, 8-pack abs, 12, you know. A good, healthy core just means you exercise it every day. Some people have different, we all have different, you know, unique genetic conditions. So some people are just going to have love handles. Some people are going to have, you know, a little pudge somewhere. But swelling in general is a form of, you know, something's wrong in the body, something's wrong with the lymphatic system, something's wrong with the kidneys. But a pot belly, or, you know, bulging in the stomach isn't an automatic red flag on the field. If you know you're doing your crunches, or you know you're doing your ab roller, cardio and everything, core, working that core, you know, you can tell like healthy people versus like not healthy people. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. But anyway, work that core, feel better today. And that's Halsey Allen's health and wellness tip on the spotlight section this week on the Narrative Podcast. Now for my next section. My next section is called the current event section. And this section, I refer to it as my speaking points, but basically it's just like current events, you know, whatever's happening in the news, whether it's globally, nationally, or things happening within our communities. And the reason why I do that is just basically to unpack it from our perspective and commentate it on it, just give a fresh perspective of it. And in that instance, what I would be doing is controlling the narrative, because the media has a very divisive way of making us look and seem crazy. So like when I'm talking about current events, I'm really just affirming, you know, everything you're thinking. So like I'm just letting you know, no, you're not crazy. You're not a conspiracy theorist. They really are doing this to us. Like you called it right. You know, you ain't tripping. That's how it really is. So anyway, I got two things I want to touch on very briefly today. The first thing is headline news, breaking news all over the world. So as we know, we just witnessed the mass shooting in Georgia. So if you know, you know. I'm not going to like tell the name of the high school and all that. It's irrelevant. It's not irrelevant, but it's in Georgia. You already know. All you got to do is type it in the browser what I'm talking about, unless you've been living under a rock. You know, it's very sad. It's very disheartening. That youth have that access to firearms. And quite frankly, a whole lot of mass shootings have been on the rise. And so how I'm going to break this down without coming across as, well, I'm probably going to come across as callous. But, you know, like I said, this is a platform of truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. So I'm about to hurt some feelings tonight. Because it seems like a group of people that do not resemble our people are always engaged in mass violence. It ain't just 1-2 people. It's a whole bunch of people. It's a whole bunch of people that's, when they're really actually upset and angry at one person, they make everybody pay for it. Everybody in the vicinity. So that one person that they're mad about, and then innocent bystander that had nothing to do with it, other innocent bystander that saw what you did to the guy he was mad at, and the other innocent bystander, and then the other innocent bystander, until, like, you know, nobody's left on the block, nobody's left in the post office, nobody's left in the CBC, you know. But yet, when our people have a flare-up, it's covered as if, you know, it's a normal thing. Oh, they was in the gang. They grew up in a broken home. It's like we can't never just have mental health deficiencies. You see, they try to portray us like that. It's just DNA coded in our nature to be that way. And then who, by nature, are we as a people? We kings and queens, gods and goddesses of the universe. So when we have our mental flare-ups, we're not embodying our true nature and our true essence. We acting like the people that took away our true essence by forcing us to act like them and doing what they say is normal. But yet when we embody and do what they say is normal, they say that that's an abomination. You can't have it two ways. Is it normal or is it an abomination? What I'm saying is, like, when we have random acts of violence in our community, we have, you know, all these statistics. We the worst in the country. We the murder capital of this city, that city. And then the statistics start stockpiling up. 1 in 4 of us grow up without fathers, and 1 of 5 of us is like incarcerated or in jail. will not live beyond this age. You see? This is what they're telling us. Our people, the people that's literally had everything done to us, taken away from us. When we spaz out and get the spasm, it's always, we acting like animals. We acting like savages. And we ain't never just did well, I ain't gonna say we ain't never, but we very rarely will just go into a convenience store and unalive everybody in the convenience store. We'll very rarely go inside of a post office and unalive everybody in the post office. We'll very rarely will go inside a restaurant and unalive everybody in the restaurant. But yet, every time we are, involved in like some gang violence, film at 11. They got up to date, CNN, all these different media outlets giving you the blow by blow, minute by minute. They show the high speed chase from the helicopter view. They show the infrared body footage. But people that do not look like us, whose skin, who don't possess high concentrations of melanin, when they spaz out and get to unaliving everybody in the building, the first thing they say is they had mental health issues. They had a history of mental health issues. Not their father wasn't in their life. Not their, bringing up the statistics. Statistically, they only had a 1 in 4 shot of making it anyway. This is a global, a national thing in America. Oh, we can run it down the line. It was, what was it? Columbine was the most bloody one. So this marks 16 mass shootings, school shootings in that area. This is the 16th one. And guess what? Not one of them was from our community. Not one of them was from the brown community, from our Spanish brothers and sisters. Not one of them was an Asian. But yet they still try to spin it on us. They try to say, oh, he was listening to rap music. He was listening to that drill rap. So said all that to say, I brought it up to point out the double standards. You see, when they get the spazzing out and unaliving people, they get that out of mental health issues. And then the justice system. This is the very few times within the justice system the perpetrator was immediately brought to justice. But when, something happens within our community, usually they say the first thing out their mouth, well, these things take time. The wheels of justice turn slowly. But when we are the perpetrators of the crime, they bring in the electric chair right to our house. They entombing us in the prison system. Like they building bricks around us in jail. They entombing us. They ain't just locking us up. They entombing us in the jail. So the young man and his father are, held in police custody. As the story goes, his father was unaware of him taking the assault rifle. Now, one thing I do want to say about the white community is, they do keep that tradition alive. It used to be within our community, we used to, that was a coming of age thing, in our community. Back when most of us did have, two parents in the household. Mom got the daughter, teaching her domestic skills. And then dad got the boy, teaching him how to be a man, how to, fix and maintain the vehicle and do, physical labor, facility maintenance, cutting the grass, keeping the hedges chopped down, taking out the trash. And then, we're going to go hunting. We're going to go fishing. We're going to go hunting. I'm going to teach you how, proper firearm maintenance, how to maintain a firearm, how to discharge the firearm, how to oil it up and all that. That was just a coming of age thing, as a male child in this country. But especially in our community, we did that. We don't do that no more. Now the surrogate family teaches our young men about guns. The gangbangers, the drug dealer cliques teach our young men about the guns. But how this scenario played out, in the white community, that tradition of the father teaching the son about the gun, still is prevalent. That's what they do. They teach their boy how to pop that thing at 12, 13, 14 years old. They take them out, they hunt, shoot some deer, or might got them, if they own their own house, put some paint cans up on the fence. Boom, ping, ping. But it's very sad. It's very unfortunate that those young people had to experience that. But our system is definitely broken. But it's clearly also not fair as well. Because it's very rarely that white people are ever held 110% accountable in instances like this. It's when they do get locked up, they're going to get put in the psych ward, monitored, given prescription meds, and at some point, they're going to be free. They're going to be given a hope of being free one day. So this whole situation, said all that to say, this whole situation to me is seeming like, I'm going to throw myself on the mercy of the court type deal and beg for forgiveness, and I'll eventually get out of there. So he's 14. He's probably going to come home at 23, 24. Maybe 30. Probably eligible for parole and all that. Now the dad will probably do 6, 7. if convicted. If convicted. But meanwhile, we know how that would have played out. Had it been one of our people, he wouldn't even got arraigned. He wouldn't have made it. If one of our youth would have aired out that school, he would not have made it to custody. Like, he wouldn't have made it to the police station. And you know I ain't lying. Well, that's all I really wanted to talk about that. I was just really trying to show you, you know, the double standard, you know, the blurry, thin line of so-called justice. Just us, as in them, not us. So next thing I want to talk about, I kind of didn't want to talk about, but everybody's talking about it. It really kind of really teeters on the brink of gossip, because I don't really like gossip on my platform. But, you know, I'm covering it from the positive lens, because I try to look at everything through a positive lens. So, you know, I kind of put a positive spin on, you know, what's, you know, went viral just recently. So recently, Dame Dash and 50 Cent, they declared like war on each other. Not a bad war, like, you know, it's on sight when I see you. It's more war as in like friendly competition. And so, you know, he's doing his Facebook Live. It's like, you know, when they're going at it, two people like that, it's like when the NBA players is up in each other's face trash talking. So they just trash talking. They having fun. Nothing malicious behind it, you know. And so bruh, Dame Dash's like teeth fell out during his live while he was trash talking 50 Cent, talking about, you know, they was going back and forth or whatever. Rich people problems, like, I got more money than you, no, I got more money than you. Da da da. Bing. So mid-speech, you know, he's popping his ish, and his teeth is, you know, in our community we say teeth is, his teeth is fall out. And it was funny. I ain't gonna laugh, I chuckled, everybody chuckled. He even laughed, you know, it happened to him, he laughed, he got a good sense of humor about it. But was it hilarious? Was it really worth just a viral moment? Not my opinion. I mean, it was funny, but it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like side splitting funny, like, oh my God. Not to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, maybe I got like a harsher sense of humor. Like, it wasn't just gut splitting funny, it was just something that happened. Now, what I do know about the brother is he got diabetes, and like when you have diabetes, that's one of the things that happen. Like minerals in your body deteriorate. Is teeth. So it's like, I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't super hilarious to me. Like, it was just haha. So, yeah, that happened. But the silver lining on it, the positive part, how I'm putting a positive spin on it, is because both of these brothers are well-established entrepreneurs. Both of these brothers, when they create their endeavors, they create opportunities for our community. So both of them are creating streaming services. They're competing right now, but after they get done joking on each other, a collaboration is most sure to come about. They're going to collaborate. They're going to do some music. They're going to do some movies. They're going to do some projects. They're going to buy up some land together. They're going to have some festivals together. That's the positive that I'm seeing out of all this friendly competition, is them putting people on within our community. So not taking away from 50 Cent, nothing away from 50 Cent, but Dame Dash, he has a history of cultivating talent, of not only wanting people to get on and experience the finer things in life. He got that teach you how to fish mentality. Some people, some entrepreneurs, don't come around me. I don't like broke people around me. He's like, no, I'm going to teach you how to hustle. I'm going to teach you how to get this bag. And then I want you to, I want you to have your own bag. And then I always use like movies to kind of, for my analogies, like, and assessments, like, Dame Dash's mentality is like, to me, that movie about chess records, Cadillac records a few years ago. Beyonce was in that. Well, the guy that played Wolf, that scene, Eamon Walker played Howlin' Wolf, and they was having the funeral for Muddy Waters. And he's like, I want you to know what it's like, telling Jeffrey Wright's character of Muddy Waters, I want you to, know what it's like not to have a daddy. Because I want you to feel good like that too. Because even though they hate each other, he wants him to know what it's like to like have your own money and not have to beg for nobody. Because essentially in that movie, he was trying to like get, money to bury, I forget the other character, the guy's name, but you know what I'm saying. Columbus Short's character, Little Walter, to bury him. Like, that's, to me, that's Dame Dash's personality. Is like, he'll talk crazy, but that crazy talk ain't to hurt your feelings. It's to motivate you, to make you angry enough to do something about your condition. Like he, like when he was on the Breakfast Club and he had screamed on Envy. So that's what I'm seeing of this little rivalry that they got going on. I'm seeing like a power merger coming soon. They're going to compete. They're going to amass a whole lot of resources. They're going to put a whole lot of people on separately, staying within their own barracks and ranks, but ultimately for the greater good. And because they both like money, they're going to find a way to merge their resources to, put people on. And we're going to start seeing quality entertainment. We're not going to see, these stereotypical drug dealers and this like ignorant, low vibrational content that's just quite frankly embarrassing about how we're being depicted on like BET, these characters that they're coming up with on their TV, that they're programming. So they both got like movie-like streaming services. So I see a better, visual representation of us, without them, either one of them being plugged into the machine, so we can produce content saying what we want to say, how we want to say, and be represented the way we want to be represented. We don't want to be represented in this stereotypical way. On the music side, you want the artist to have full control and not promote ignorant, dumb shit. Pardon my language, but that's what I see. That's what I'm seeing, putting the positive spin on them going back and forth. And the teeth falling out was just like, It was chuckle, haha, but it wasn't just like fall down laugh. Oh my God, did you see his teeth fall out? Oh, bro. Oh. It wasn't that, bro. It was just like, oh, his teeth fell out. I mean, it wasn't. Now I probably would have laughed harder if we would have passed some gas or like, called himself trying to be fly, trying to dance, and then he took a tumble. That probably would have been super funny. If it it's snow and it slipped on a patch of ice. I might have laughed like that, but with the teeth falling out, it wasn't. It was like, to me, my laugh was like, his teeth fell out. Not, oh, bro, oh, did you see his teeth? Oh, dang on, his teeth fell out. Oh my God. It wasn't that. It just wasn't. But to each their own. If you thought it was hilarious, like, oh well, to each their own. Like, if you thought it was that hilarious, like, to be wasting your time about the brother's teeth falling out, like, to me it was just like, I've definitely seen more embarrassing, funny stuff, like, but yeah, that's all I want to touch on this evening. That's it, and that's all. Join me next weekend for another full edition of the Narrative Podcast. Be sure to tune in during the weekday for periodical uploads of the Narrative Podcast. I try to do at least 3 uploads during the weekday. Sometimes it's just 2, life be lifing. But join me next time for new episodes of the Narrative Podcast. This weekend for sure, and definitely this week. Might be 2, might be 3. But thanks for supporting. I've already plugged everything I got going on. One more thing I didn't say. I did end up writing a brand new piece of poetry today that I posted on Hallzies Poetry Corner. The piece is titled Shifting. So go check out Shifting on Hallzies Poetry Corner today. So this episode of the Narrative Podcast is officially a wrap. Join me next time. Join me this weekend for a full episode of the Narrative Podcast. And then next week during the weekday for weekday episodes of the Narrative Podcast. That's it. I'm sending projecting love, light, and healing energy over everything you got going on in your circumference, everything you got going on in your life. I'm transmitting prosperity, abundance, and well-being through this broadcast onto you. And join me next time for new episodes of the Narrative Podcast. I'm Halsey Allen, and I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time, I'm asking you to help me change the narrative by becoming a narrator. And while I'm changing the narrative on my end, one episode at a time, as a narrator, you can help me change the narrative on your end, one social media post at a time. Until next time, Halsey Allen in the Narrative Podcast, signing off, and it's like that.
Listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.